This conference will now be recorded.
And the phone will talk to us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you all. Don, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Wallace.
Here.
Tracy Bowen. Here. Jeff Coddington.
Present.
John Engel.
Here.
Mark Glidden.
Here.
Marilyn Jacobson. Michael Kelly.
Here.
Mitch Meyerson.
Here.
Gia. Here. And I understand we have, is Chief not in attendance?
Yes.
Sean Curran
Here.
and Mike McGinnis
Here.
and Pat DeGangi.
Here.
Rich O'Brien. Okay, that's it.
I don't know if we need to do this, but for the record, Jeff Coddington and Michael McGinnis are joining us on GoToMeeting. An announcement that this meeting is being recorded. I will also announce at this moment that the recording of this meeting will be put up on the website tomorrow. Do we have any changes, additions, or deletions to the agenda?
No.
I see none. Do we have any public comment on anything on the agenda?
Not to my knowledge.
And nothing from the audience here. Would anyone, relative to the consent agenda, would anybody care to make a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes from the June 14th, 2021 council meeting with disbursements from the general fund of $165,188.47 for the month of June, with the financial report to be filed for audit?
So moved. Second.
That was motion by Mitch Meyerson, second by Mike Kelly. We have no special items of which I'm aware. In that case, council committee reports. We'll start with the mayor reports. Mayor Wallace.
The only thing that I have to report that the Tri-Municipal Parade was a huge success. We actually had a very good turnout, and the weather was probably as good as it could get. That's all I have to report.
Thank you, sir. Central Bucks Police Commission.
Our last meeting was held at Del Val. I believe it's their Life Sciences building, and we had quite a few accommodations. We were kind of getting caught up on all those ceremonies, and congratulations to our officers. We also had a finance committee meeting prior to that, and that's about all I have to report on that.
Thank you, sir. The Public Works Committee is included in the packet. Does anybody from the committee, since Marilyn isn't joining us tonight, have anything to add?
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to add was that there was continuation of the conversation about Lilac Lane and will be action taken put before council.
Very good. Facilities Committee, anything to report, Jeff?
Nothing to report other than we'll continue to work on our audio video moving forward for the Borough Hall.
Very good. Mr. Meyerson, Utilities Committee report. No report. The Finance Committee has not met. I'm expecting probably in August.
Late August, I'd say, Mid to late August.
Mid to late August, we will be starting our budget process for the 2022 budget. And Gia, I'm going to put you on the spot. Given all our virtual meetings, do you have anything you wish to add or contribute to the meeting tonight?
Was that addressed to me?
Gia?
Oh, Gia.
I don't have anything to add.
Thank you, Gia, and welcome virtually. I should also have in the announcement said that Gia is also joining us on GoToMeeting. My apologies, I didn't mean to ignore it. Manager's report. We're moving to staff reports. Manager's report.
I'd like to update everyone on the Butler Avenue water main replacement. The work is continuing. They hope to be done with, there's 2 transmission lines that run under the creek they've been boring for the past couple of weeks. They anticipate those being done before the end of the week, this week. And then they have a couple of connections to make along Butler, the stretch that hasn't been paved yet, and then hopefully paving in August. So things are moving, went slowly, but they're moving along. So hopefully.
Sean, if I may, who are they relying on connections with?
It's Aqua physically doing the work for the connections. There's one in the intersection of, yes, it's in the intersection of Butler and Main, and I believe there's one down near Moyer and Butler there. So once the line's in and it's been pressurized, they can make those 2 taps at the 2 intersections, and then they can pave.
I had heard that there was some type of violation.
I believe that was, there has not been a violation of recent. Back probably 5 or 6 months ago, there was some complications because the hole they were boring the first attempt filled with water, and Aqua shut it down, and that's when, DEP got involved and everything.
Okay.
But that's nothing recent.
Anything else?
No, that'll do it.
Sean,
Yes.
if I may, Mr. President, if I may, Chalfont
Yes.
Crossing, what's going on?
Chalfont Crossing, I mean, they're still doing site work out there. I mean, Pat can speak to it a little bit, but they have not submitted any building permits or anything like that. And I've kind of prided them a little bit to see, what their schedule's going to be, and they haven't given us one as far as actual construction.
Yeah, they started, and I think they're almost done, the utility work. They base paved the roads, you can see that, curbs in. They're at a bit of a standstill, I think, maybe they're waiting on materials. I don't know exactly why, but, they've made some progress.
They were still working out there today, so.
Can we get an update from them?
I've been asking. I think they're hesitant to give an update. I really think, like Pat said, they're waiting on, even though they haven't officially said this, I believe they're waiting on, materials and material costs to maybe level out a little bit.
And I will share, Sean and I had a conversation with them, we were just asking them what's going on as far as a marketing standpoint. And they've held off in marketing those homes, for whatever reason, whether it's the, current conditions that they can't meet, the demand of somebody, if they get into agreements, then they have to deliver a home by a certain time. And with materials being delayed so much these days, I don't think they can make those commitments yet. So they've held off in marketing the homes.
Yeah, my concern is the window's going to close on them. Because eventually supply side is going to catch up.
I'm sorry, what's going to catch up, Jeff? I'm sorry, we didn't hear you.
The supply side.
Oh, okay. So
I can't wait till that happens. I just saw, and Mitch can probably confirm this, a sheet of CDX plywood with $89 at Home Depot.
They don't have any, to
No, they have some. Yeah, it was $89. Yeah.
It's like COVID with the toilet paper now.
Yeah.
Plywood's the new toilet paper, but people are scoffing.
And hopefully by the end of the summer, I did see some prices coming down. I've been shopping for some of this stuff and I've seen some of them coming down, but not a lot. Yeah, 2x4s are a little cheaper, but it's still outrageous.
Okay. Mitch, you had something you wanted to,
For the couple follow-up questions from the previous meeting and a couple, two new issues, I don't think we're going. Just for the record, we talked about code enforcement, construction sites and that's it.
I've been dealing with Rich on the construction sites, and we'll, Rich isn't here tonight, but we are working on it. As far as that's in reference to fencing around large construction sites, possibly being required.
Which would be for safety and children mostly and whatnot. Next question would be, this is what I'm getting from public people reminding, right? Question, how that new code enforcement issue without being specific?
The gentleman actually stopped in, he was just sent a letter, last week. It was the second notice. He stopped in today and talked to me. He's working on, getting his property in compliance, and he, understands that the camper cannot stay there.
And the giant blocks.
The blocks, he could technically leave if he gets proper permitting and installation, but that would be an allowable retaining wall. Yes. He can leave the blocks. When they're not pretty, they would meet the requirements, as long as they're installed properly.
The next one is, another, issue from a resident on Bellevue is a house that has what appears to be like unregistered cars.
Yes, there's a house, with 2 unregistered cars in the driveway. We're struggling with how to deal with that. I mean, if we want to push that issue. I'm talking to Rich about it, and we're kind of formulating a,
She's rather upset.
Yeah, I mean, all 4 cars, the tires are filled up. I mean, they're not dirty. The one's under a cover.
But it's in the code that well, first of all, I think cars under the cover where you can't see a license plate or registration may not be legal. But is the code say that an unregistered car is legal?
Well, you could read a couple different codes and you could view it in different ways.
So is there ambiguity?
Absolutely. And it's not something, I mean,
He's got 2 more in the garage.
we're opening.
could this discussion be done offline? I'm
Yeah.
not sure it's council business.
Sure. Yeah, we can
And
follow.
I'm not sure that a public meeting is the most appropriate venue for these
So,
specifics.
My question is, would this go to a committee or just with the manager?
I think just the manager and and Rich O'Brien in this case that's where the discussion would happen. It's I have contacted this resident and left them voicemails, and they haven't gotten back to me.
My point is, there's 7 cars in someone's yard, got to say. Because he actually has more. So,
All right.
one more thing, which looks like. And I can go this again.
Mr. DeGangi, engineers report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I believe you have a copy of my written report. I have nothing to highlight or add.
Very good, thank you. Mike McGinnis, anything to report?
My report is in the packet. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Everybody has distributed at their desk and also by email the police report. Anything to add to the written report, Chief Knott? Pardon? Okay. Oh, yes. And Public Works report is also in the packet. noteworthy is that the zero-turn mower has been received and put into use quite handily.
Daily, yes.
Also in our packet under monthly reports is the Chalfont Fire Company's report for June, and I believe the Chalfont EMS is in there. I'm sure of it. Which actually brings us to action items. And I just realized, oh, you have a copy, sir? Forgive me because I don't know your name. You do have a copy of the agenda, so you guys are not being left out. We're I shouldn't say we, I am kind of rusty at this. I think it's been over a year since we've been in this room, so forgive me. Action items. The first action item concerns rejection of the Lilac Lane paving project bids. Before I ask for a motion, Public Works or Sean, can you give us an update or background?
We had, Lilac Lane was on our, list to pave this year after Aqua replaces the water main. We put it out to bid and had CKS put together all the numbers as far as, what curbs needed to be replaced. And, when the project ended up coming back, I think between the material costs right now and some of the labor, issues, the prices are much higher than we anticipated. And because we have such a big project scheduled for next year, the thought is that if we delay this work until next year, we might be able to get a much better price than we get this year. So that's why we're recommending just not approving any of the bids.
And this recommendation has been made, approved, or certainly discussed and suggested by the Public Works
It's the
Committee.
recommendation of the Public Works Committee that we reject all bids.
It's also our recommendation from our office.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone care to make a motion to reject the bids for the 2021 Lilac Lane paving project? That was motion by Mark Glidden, seconded by Mike Kelly. We would now open this up to council discussion. I guess I have one question, and Aqua's still going to do the work this year.
They will still
So
do
we'll
the main replacement.
And so we'll get trench covering, but not paving.
There'll be a trench restoration. It'll be a smooth surface when it's done.
Good. Mitch, you had a question, sir.
The only question I can think of is there any issues regarding not using those tax funds this year?
No.
We can accumulate it.
Anything else from council? Anything from the public? In that case, a vote is in order. This can be a voice vote. All those in favor of rejecting the bids for the 2021 Lilac Lane paving project, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That motion carries 6-0. The next action item is consideration of acceptance of historic Chalfont newspaper donation 1931 publication to be totally proper. Would anybody care to make a motion to accept the historic Chalfont newspaper donation 1931 publication that is sitting on top?
Second.
You're too late, Jeff.
That's okay.
Motion was by Mark Glidden, second by Mitch Meyerson. Now we will open this up. Any discussion from council?
Yeah, I think it would be appropriate to have it, a plaque on the newspaper that shows that it was donated by everyone.
That's a good idea. That's very doable. And
The only stipulations with this is that it has to be displayed publicly, and if the borough ever decides not to display it publicly, then we offer it to another organization that will.
And to be fair, in discussion with our manager, we are looking at an outlay in the neighborhood of $300 to have this framed, archival framed. If that's, it's not quite English, but it'll be framed to prevent damage to it with UV glass. So it's, the guesstimate, right, is about a $300 expenditure down the road. So with that, is there any more discussion from council?
And if we do this and we get it framed this month, Everett would come in for a future council meeting, either August or September, and we'd do more of an official, donation at that point. Take some pictures. He's alive. It was his father's. I believe his father had held it for him. Yep.
Mr. President, the only other thing was, I believe that paper was actually printed in this building.
We cannot confirm if the printing press was here or not. We haven't figured, that hasn't been determined, but the address is listed as the bank building on on Main Street here. So that's what's kind of cool about it is that apparently it was downstairs and what we used as the police station. That was the newspaper's headquarters.
It goes well with our plaques up there. I mean,
we'll try to put it in this room if we can get a nice, spot for it, or in the hallway. The VFW, some of their stuff is gone now.
Yeah.
They just actually picked it up today because they're going to be using New Britain Township's meeting room because it's a little larger. So.
I think we'll leave it to staff, although it'd be awfully hard to see it, but there's a lot of blank wall over there that is probably not in direct sunlight, which is the evil destroyer of all things paper.
Yeah, we'll make sure it's not in the sunlight.
But be that as, okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any public comment? I see none. Again, a voice vote. All those in favor to accept the historic Chalfont newspaper donation? Aye. Aye. Anyone? Any opposition? That motion carries 6-0. Action item number 3 is the 2022 minimum municipal obligation for the non-uniformed employee pension plan in the amount of $34,644. This is as evaluated by our actuary. And it would be appropriate at this time to permit discussion and possible vote. Would anybody care to make a motion to approve the 2022 MMO for the non-uniformed employee pension plan in the amount of $34,644?
Tracy Bowen.
Tracy Bowen, second by Mike Kelly. Any questions, comments, discussion from council?
Mr. President, if I may?
Yes.
What is the current funding ratio? Is this fully funded?
I'll have to get back to you on the exact numbers, but yes, it's a healthy funding. I don't know that it's 100%, but it's close. I can get back to you with exact numbers.
Yeah, I can't vote for it without knowing.
Let's see what Milliman says.
I couldn't find it in their paperwork.
What's it? I don't think it's in. I would have seen it if it was.
As I remember, the last.
Daryl reviewed it, but Daryl's on vacation since I've been
Right.
back here, so I didn't get to scan on this morning.
Do we know if there are any problems with funding the uniform versus the non-uniform at different percentages, having been funded at different capacities?
We don't have a uniformed
I guess
pension anymore.
With the central bucket, I guess we don't have a problem having different funding percentages for our employees versus.
This is for our employees and not for anyone under the employment of the Central Bucks Regional.
Right.
Yeah, that's a whole separate,
So
it's
we
under the
don't have,
commission.
as a municipality, we're not getting into legal hot water. If I have
No.
one funded differently, then no.
No, the responsibility for funding of our employees' pension plan falls on Chalfont Borough. The actual funding of the police uniform and non-uniform employees, two separate plans, falls on the Central Bucks Regional, gets rolled into the budget, and then is effectively approved or not by the boroughs voting on the budget.
My concern, I guess the reason I'm voicing this is if I were in uniform and my pension were funded at a different rate than the non-uniform, I would question that.
Theirs is guaranteed, I mean, it's guaranteed though, it's not a.
Is it ours also? So they're both guaranteed. I mean,
Yes.
my question is, I know there's an ongoing debate with funding levels also at the police.
Commission.
The
The commission's a central entity that is backed by the three municipalities, basically. The commission's responsible for the funding of the pension.
Right.
All three municipalities have a say in how that goes.
Right.
So it's okay to have two separate
Right.
deals
We're not getting
and
into how-
how they're dealt with differently. Yeah.
Okay.
If everyone would feel more comfortable, we can easily, we're not under a time crunch for this, we can table this and we can have all your information for you for next month.
Well, one council member,
And this isn't, just so everyone's aware, that this is an estimate too, this isn't, you know, this is based off of data they've put together throughout the year, it's not, these aren't firm
There's some
numbers.
assumptions.
There is assumptions in here, so.
So I would suggest we get the number and assess the assumptions.
I would suggest if that's what you want, you should make a motion to table this issue at this time.
I'll make a motion to table this, the minimum municipal obligation of non-funded uniformed employee pension plan in the amount of $34,644.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Mark Glidden seconds. The motion was made by Jeff Coddington. There is no discussion on a motion to table, therefore a vote is in order. It will be a voice vote. You look like you have under Robert's Rules of Order, a motion to table is not discussed. It is simply voted on immediately. So how would you vote, Mr. Myerson?
No.
Do not table. Mr. Glidden?
Yes.
I will actually vote yes. Mike Kelly?
Yes.
And Jeff Coddington.
Yes.
So that the motion to table is passed with a 5-1 vote with Mr. Myerson dissenting. For the sake of argument, the way this will work is at our next official meeting, if there is to be discussion of the MMO, a motion will be made to untable the motion. If that motion does not carry effectively, if the issue is not pulled off the table and put back in discussion, it then is gone and would have to start over. That's just Robert's Rules of Order. But that's where we are. So we are tabling the motion and therefore there'll be no more discussion of the MMO at this time. And we've already heard, and this is for information only, not discussion, staff is going to come back, has been asked to come back with the rate of funding and anything else that might be pertinent to this discussion.
Yep.
Very good. So we will move to action item 4, consideration for the borough manager to sign acknowledgement and consent agreement between the Borough of Chalfont and Waste Management Incorporated due to Waste Management Incorporated recent merger with Advanced Disposal Services PA Incorporated. Did they merge or did they acquire? Do you know?
I believe they merged.
But at any rate, the reason this is under consideration is Waste Management has either merged or acquired.
It was a council president, I believe it was an acquisition in the fall of last year on Waste Management acquired Advanced.
So Advanced is out and we are now transferred. Is that a fair word, Mr. McGinnis?
Yes, essentially.
They took over the contract, correct?
Right. So essentially, if council will recall, the borough has previously awarded the trash service contract to Advanced Disposal. Advanced Disposal Services Eastern PA Inc. is essentially no longer an entity because they were acquired by Waste Management. And Waste Management, and Sean can speak to this, but reached out to the borough indicating and affirming that they were going to be carrying on all of Advanced obligations and responsibilities with respect to that entity. One of those obligations and responsibilities was the trash contract with Chalfont Borough. They had provided information to Sean asking that Sean sign an acknowledgement, and we thought that it was appropriate considering that this provides service to all the residents in the borough, that we have our own really resolution / acknowledgement and consent agreement so that the public, first of all, was aware of what was going on, and secondly, just so that the borough had, for its own record keeping, a document that affirms this. Really a housekeeping item. There's already this commitment that's been made.
Thank you, sir. So with all that information, would anybody care to make a motion as stated under action item number 4?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mitch Meyerson, second by Mike Kelly. And this is to approve or give authority to the borough manager to sign the acknowledgement and consent agreement. It's not an expenditure or resolution or an ordinance, so therefore, all those in favor, I'm sorry, is there any discussion?
What is our current agreement with, now with Waste Management?
I believe
Are we in the first or second year of
we're in
renewal?
the first extension.
So we have the option, and they have to accept with a stated no more than price increase, which is in the low few percent. And I don't remember the number, forgive me.
I have to pull the contract.
But it's as negotiated, as awarded through the bid process, would be 3-year contract, 1-year extension, and I believe the contract ends in midsummer. I'm not going to say which month because I'm guessing at this moment. But we have the option of extending it 1 more year after the expiration of this extension.
So approximately a year.
Give or take another year, I believe. When did we enter into the extension?
Last year.
Okay, so
I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe it's January.
Is it January?
I believe so. It starts, but you have to give them notice ahead of time, so. But we've kind of lucked out in our contract in that prices have ballooned for trash service, and we're kind of in a good spot financially. I mean, all the residents are because of that contract.
Yes.
So, at one point they asked if we would agree to, price increase. So, because the price is extremely low compared to what's being offered now.
I do have the contract dates in front of me if you want them.
Yes, please, Dawn.
The contract started on June 1st, 2018, and it ran for 3 years until May 31st of this year. So as of June 1st this year, we're in our first extension. And if we sign up for the second extension, the contract will wrap up on May 31st of 2023.
I had the June right.
Yeah, you did.
So,
I think we have to notify them maybe by, I think there's a couple months
yeah,
we'll be discussing that. Maybe that's the January deadline.
but we're effectively a month and a half into the first extension with the possibility of a second annual extension.
Yeah.
At this point, we have a motion.
Mr.
Yes,
President?
I'm sorry. Yes, Jeff.
Sean,
I apologize.
have we addressed their underwhelming service levels?
Have we addressed the underwhelming service level?
No. I mean, we're trying to. Borough staff deals with waste management now. I mean, weekly, if not almost daily. They've had some real growing pains as this merger has taken place, but they are responsive when we reach out to them. It's just we keep having repeat issues with certain properties. So it's something we're dealing with, but I'm not advocating to change anything even with those difficulties because of the pricing.
But their service just started, right?
They've been in charge for quite some time.
Oh, okay.
It was a slow transition, so.
Yes.
My experience, they have been starting to inspect the garbage now. In my work, I'm doing a lot of work about, I'm sort out into the construction garbage now. They're being more selective. I'm losing money with everything else.
But that's within their right.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, these things are being so close.
Okay.
We haven't had many complaints about them not taking items other than bulk items, because bulk items require, calling in.
Yeah.
So there's always confusion over that. But we have had issues with them just missing pickups on certain houses for whatever reason.
Trucks keep breaking down now. We
Well,
get the other trucks died.
They're terrible with bulk items. I don't think they've actually ever picked up a bulk item. I think somebody else picked it up off my front lawn. I'm not even kidding about it.
I've had multiple times where they've sent out, like, it's a pickup truck. I mean, it is.
Yeah, right.
It looks like a personal vehicle, but it is one of their company vehicles. Right. They come out and they'll take a sofa or something on the back of a pickup truck to get it out of here.
Yeah.
So we have a motion, a second. Any more discussion from council? I see none. Anything from the public? Again, I see none. Therefore, a voice vote is in order to authorize the borough manager to sign the acknowledgement and consent agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? That motion carries 6-0. And action item number 5 is a consideration of a request from owner of 125 Butler Ave. We'll do the parcel number when we make the motion for partial waiver of fees, but I think it would be appropriate at this time, Pat or Sean?
I can see it out. I mean, whoever. Yeah, apparently, there was a request made to partially waive the fees associated with a land development, non-residential land development. The current fee is $15,000. They're looking at it reduced to $10,000. And it's essentially an escrow for review of the project. I'll point out that your escrow required for a major subdivision, such as Shopon Crossing, is $10,000. So the amount proposed as a reduced rate is in line with what Shopon Crossing had.
And a question.
We did get more out of it.
We did.
And a question in the form of a statement. So effectively, this reduces the amount they put in escrow, but should the actual fees go higher, they would still be responsible for the fees. Is that correct?
Correct.
they'll be sent a letter to reimburse their escrow once it reaches half, so.
Okay. So, for the record, would anyone care to make a motion for a partial waiver of fees on applicant's behalf to reduce the required fees posted for the subject application to $10,000 as opposed to the $15,000 which would otherwise be required given the limited scope of the application? Applicant remains responsible for replenishing the escrow as warranted by the reviews of borough professionals. Would anybody care to make that motion? Motion by Tracy Bowen, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike Kelly. Questions, comments, discussion from council? Mr. Myerson?
So what is that building?
Not sure. They're putting an addition onto Hilltop Service Station, is what they're proposing.
How big is this?
2,600 square feet, give or take.
This is a residential or commercial addition?
It's a commercial property, so it's commercial.
It's garage space.
Anything else from council? Anything from the public? I see none. This can be a voice vote. All those in favor of action item, the motion per action item number 5, respond with aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? That motion carries. Any old business? I am not aware of any. I hear none. New business? I see nothing. In your packet under correspondence and information is an Aqua PA rate increase notice as page 34 through 35 in our packet. And at this point, we come to public comment from the public on any subject. Does anybody in the public have anything to say? I assume, do you have any? I assume you're here for a merit badge. Come on up to the podium so we can hear you and the people on the virtual meeting can also hear you. Right here. And you can pull the mic down. There you go. How are you, sir? Introduce yourself if you would.
My name is Nicholas Peters, and I go to Troop 36. And I'm here for the merit badge for community.
Well, it's good to see you here. What rank are you, if I may ask?
Well, I just started Boy Scouts because I used to be Cub Scouts. So I just turned the Scout rank and I'm trying to get tenure.
Oh, excellent. I spent about 15 to 20 years in the leadership of Troop 24 in Doylestown. I kind of knew why you were here. So good for you. Do you have any questions for us?
No.
Does anybody have anything to say to our scout?
I have a question for you. So what do you enjoy most about Boy Scouts right now?
Usually I go on camping trips.
I'm with you.
I hope you get up to Resica Falls soon. Very good. Well, thank you for coming. Do you need anything signed or any? No? Okay. Because the scout is honest. Trustworthy, loyal, and kind. I know this. Very good. Thank you.
Excuse me, John?
Yes.
Can I have him repeat his name? I didn't hear it.
Nicholas Peters.
Nicholas Peters.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you, Nicholas.
Thanks, Nicholas.
And good luck to you on your scout career. It's a good thing to do. Do you have a public comment, sir? You have to come up, introduce yourself, give your name and address if you would.
Joe Kowalski, resident of Oxford Lane, Eagle Scout, and also board member of the Great Lakes Council, Boy Scouts of America. So spend many summers at Resica Falls, and it's a wonderful place.
It is.
Scouting is phenomenal, so can't say enough good about it. So looking forward to your field court. parking on Oxford Lane. So historically, everyone's aware, I've been resident for 7 years. And I'm going to reach out to our HOA, about the conversation I had with Sean today, see if we can get some permitting in, because we do have an issue with a lot of the cars stored in the issue. So we have a car in front of a fire hydrant. It's really becoming a big problem. So we're going to reach out to our HOA, we're going to see if they can make a recommendation. I believe that would be the next step, to bring that to the borough, so that we can start the permit process. And once we get to that, hopefully we can alleviate some of the congestion on the street. And I do believe that the road is dedicated, if I'm correct. There was a time where the builder had some punch list items, the road wasn't dedicated, we had a winter storm, nobody plowed the street. Next thing you know, the borough came out and cleared the front loader. So we just want to make sure we get all our ducks in a row before we move on that. So thanks again. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me, but thank you for all you do, and appreciate your time here today.
Oh, you are welcome, and thank you for that. And I do have one question. Could you tell me your name again?
Sure. It's Joseph Kowalski. I can spell that K.
I can't.
Good Irish name. K-O-B as in boy, U-L-S-K-Y.
Thank you.
422 Oxford.
Thank you, Joseph. And that brings us to announcements, which will be a listing of our upcoming meetings. The police, Central Bucks Regional Police Commission Finance Committee will meet at 6 o'clock this Thursday, July 15th, and that will be held at Doylestown Borough Hall. Planning Commission, Monday, July 26th at 7 p.m. here at our Borough Hall. Police Commission, Thursday, July 22nd, 7 p.m. at Doylestown Borough Hall. Chalfont Harb, Monday, August 2nd, 7 p.m. here. And Chalfont Borough Council, next meeting is scheduled for August 9th, Monday at 7 p.m. here. And if there's no more business to come before the council?
I think one quick question, Sean, when you talked to Sarah about the MMO stuff, if you're gonna send us an email, can you just find out, like, are we staying static with what we've done in the past? Are we increasing it a little? Or, like, where are we with it? Is it just what we've done and then say it's the same rate, assuming something carry out, or are we trying to get closer to it?
I will find out.
Thank you.
And, because I know more about this than I wish I did sometimes, not enough to be dangerous. But one of the things is, and I never get this right, this MMO is based on valuation as of close of business on the last day of the year, and then that closing does not affect the MMO until 2 years after that. It's a very strange thing. So it may be possible for Milliman to give us a percent funded based on relatively today's closing, close of business balance.
Right.
But that is not the number used in the calculation.
Right.
Just for what it's worth to be complete. And
I'll try to get some good historical data like we get from the police.
And if there's nothing else, I'm not going to call for a motion. We are adjourned. I think I can do that. Thank you, everybody.